Amud Aleph starts talking about the Indian, the mile of being dar b'Eretz Yisrael, and then the Gemara continues and says, "So Amar Rabbi Lazar, Kol dar b'Eretz Yisrael, shari b'li avoin." Someone lives in Eretz Yisrael, it's as if he's living without avoin. Ravan Amar, Kol kover b'Eretz Yisrael, whoever is buried in Eretz Yisrael, kilu kover tachas hamizbeach. It's as if he's buried under the mizbeach, which is l'chayr in Indian kapar, just like the mizbeach is mechaper. The Gemara continues to say a ma'isa with Ula. Ula, he was ragil that he used to go up to Eretz Yisrael. This time he went to learn by his Rabbi Yochanan, and he used to go up to Eretz Yisrael from Chutz La'aretz, and go back to Chutz La'aretz, and return to Eretz Yisrael, and go back to Chutz La'aretz. He went back and forth, and when he died in Chutz La'aretz. And they came and informed Rabbi Lazar that Ula was nifter, and he told them, "You Ula al dama tmei tamas, and you have the genai of al dama tmei tamas. You died on adama tmeia because you lived in Chutz La'aretz and died in Chutz La'aretz." Followingly, they told Rabbi Lazar, "Amr lei arani ba." His Aaron arrived in Eretz Yisrael. To which Rabbi Lazar responded, "Einay daima katlasim ichayim l'kaylatzei l'achamisa." You can't compare somebody who Eretz Yisrael absorbed them ichayim to somebody who Eretz Yisrael only absorbed them la'achar misa. The Ein Yaakov is mefarish in this Gemara that there was a taina on Ula, that he didn't live in Eretz Yisrael and constantly is going back and forth and not remaining in Eretz Yisrael, and he lived in Chutz La'aretz for a lot of the time. And this Yaakov and Yosef, for much of their life, lived in Eretz Yisrael, lived in Chutz La'aretz. That wasn't a time of them because they were brought to Chutz La'aretz, to Mitzrayim al-Karcham. But Ula had the ability to remain in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore was a time in him that he returned to Chutz La'aretz. And even though even though you can't compare somebody who's Eretz Yisrael as Kollel to Mechayim Lachamisa, but still somebody who comes from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, it's mashim the Gemara that he's still zeicha to the kapara of kilu kover tachas hamizbeach. So we see from here that if you have Grosik Gvir, who let's say he goes to Lakewood for Shmuel, he comes to Florida for Hanukkah, and he devotes the Shal Shagalim to living in Eretz Yisrael, and he has a special year devoted to coming to go there for the Shal Shagalim, but then for the rest of the year he lives in Chutz La'aretz. There's a kitchik, there's a tie up on him that if he had the capability to live in Eretz Yisrael, and he live in Eretz Yisrael, and now he comes to bring his arm to Eretz Yisrael after he dies, it's a taina. It's a taina of Adam Tvei Thomas. The Gemara then in Ksubas continues. Brings Rabba and Rabbi Yosef. They both say Ksherin Shababavel. The Ksherin in Bavel Eretz Yisrael Ketlasan. Eretz Yisrael absorbs them. That means we bring the Mesim and Bavel, which was close to Eretz Yisrael, we bring them to Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. Ksherin Shebishar Ratzais. The Ksherin and the Bnei Torah and the rest of Chutz La'aretz, Bavel Ketlasan. Bavel absorbs them, and we bring them to Bavel because it's closer to Shar Chutz La'aretz, and that's a makam of Torah and Yeshivas, and therefore, and the Gemara says, for what? What's his in of Bavel Ketlasan, of Eretz Yisrael Ketlasan? It talks about it's in a Kevurah. That's in a Kevurah that the Bnei Bavel should be brought to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah, and the Bnei Shar Chutz La'aretz should be brought to Bavel. So we see it's clear from this Gemara that it's right for Bnei Chutz La'aretz, even if they live their life out in Chutz La'aretz, it's still appropriate for them to be brought for Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. This that we bring the Shar Bnei Chutz La'aretz to Bavel, it's just a matter of convenience, or too difficult to bring them all the way to Eretz Yisrael, so we bring them to Makkah Bnei Torah, we better bury them in Bavel. But for the Bnei Bavel, Me'era Yilahem, to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. It's another Gemara there that says, Rabbi Lazar says that Mesim Chutz La'aretz Einam Chayim. There's a Havamina that means that the Mesim Chutz La'aretz are not going to be Zeich Tchias HaMesim. The Gemara is matmei on that, and the Gemara comes out later. Then it means to say the Mesim Chutz La'aretz, they're only Zeicha Tchias HaMesim through Gilgal Mechilas, which is a Tsar Lahem. Gilgal Mechilas being rolled through tunnels through Chutz La'aretz till they get to Eretz Yisrael when it comes to Tchias HaMesim, and it's a tremendous tsar for the mace. Mashenk the Mesim Chutz La'aretz, They're chayin tchila. They're the first to have tchilas hamesim, and they don't go through this tzar gilgal mechilas. The Gemara asked that on that, but even the tzaddikim, they're going to have this tzar of gilgal mechilas, of going through these tunnels. And the Gemara answers, tzaddikim mechilas nasa lahem, which Rashi ties up that the tzaddikim, they're going to have these big tunnels made for them already, and they should be able to get up and walk through them, come to Eretz Yisrael, and when they come to Eretz Yisrael, they're going to pop out of the ground and have their tchilas hamesim. So what's Pshal Yaakov and Yosef? They were mitzvah that they should be brought to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah. So the Gemara says because Yaakov and Yosef, they were not betuach, they weren't sure that there were tzaddikim gemurim that they'll be zeicha to this bracha of mechilas nasa lahem, that they'll have their own mechilas. Therefore, they made sure that they were brought to Eretz Yisrael, and Yaakov's mishpia Yosef, he made him make a shvuah to bring his atzmaisav to Eretz Yisrael because he was afraid about having the gilgal mechilas. This Bereshis Rabbah, it's also brought down in Medrash Tanchuma, that Yaakov asked Yosef, "Vasisi madi chesed ve'emes, do for me a special chesed that you do with the mesim. Al tikfireni b'Mitzrayim. Don't bury me in Mitzrayim. Fisha seifa. The end of it's going to be in the end of Mitzrayim is that the Ganzer Eretz Mitzrayim is going to be lukus bekinim, and he was afraid that he didn't want the kingdom to be meracheshes tachas gufi. He didn't want this body to come filled with kingdom, so therefore he wanted his guf to be brought to Eretz Yisrael. The Medrash brings another reason, davar acher, why he wanted to become to Eretz Yisrael, because he didn't want the Mitzrayim to make him into Avodah Zarah. And we know by the Makkos, the first thing that Hashem struck when it came to the Makkos was the Avodah Zarah, and Yaakov was afraid that he was going to turn into Avodah Zarah after he dies, and he didn't want to be affected by the Makkos for becoming an Avodah Zarah by the Mitzrayim. And for that reason, Yaakov couldn't make the same arrangement like Yosef. Yosef was okay with his Atzamis only going up to Eretz Yisrael and his guf staying in Mitzrayim. But Yaakov, who was afraid of becoming an Avodah Zarah and becoming lukas by the Makkos, therefore he had to be mitzvah to bring even his guf up to Eretz Yisrael right away. This Yerushalmi and Klayim, it brings a Maisa. The Bakiri and Rebbe Lazar were taking a walk, and they saw a rainos of Mesim coming from Chutz La'aretz. And Bakiri said to Rebbe Lazar, Mahi ilu, what did these Mesim gain from coming to Eretz Yisrael after they died to be buried here? Kaira aleim, we say on these such people, v'nachlasi santam l'te'eva, they made my nachla, my Eretz Yisrael, l'te'eva, they made like a te'eva b'chayayim, by them living in Chutz La'aretz and not going to living in Eretz Yisrael, they made Yisrael like a te'eva. Vatavayu, now they come with tamus arts mimisasam. Now after they die, they're bringing their arayna start Yisrael mimatamas arts, the mimatamas Yisrael with them becoming in their araynas. Which Rav Lazar responded to Bakirion. He said to him, but when they come to Eretz Yisrael, the Ma'aseh, they take a gush offer, they take a clump of dirt and they put it upon the aron, and with that gives them a kapara that to be mechaper, and this that they brought the Aaron to Eretz Yisrael, they live in the Chutz La'aretz. But we see from this Yerushalmi, the shita of Bar Kiria was that it wasn't appropriate to bring the Meisei Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, and there's a time on them of Vatavai V'tamis Artzi, and you samtim Eretz Yisrael to Avon, and therefore Bar Kiria held that they should not bring the Meisei Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Now some are, even according to the Taina of Rebbe Lazar, that they get a kapar by them putting a gush alpha, the clump of dirt upon the aron, but still it's not kedai to put yourself in a matzav of kitrug that there's a taina on you that you have to get a kapara, so it's not kedai to have your aron sent to Eretz Yisrael, and then afterwards you're going to put yourself in a position that you have to have a kapara, so it's best to avoid the whole kitrug altogether. So that's the Yerushalmi. Now the Rambam, the mashmais of the Rambam, the way it's mashma to me is that the Rambam is learning up that even though there's not a full kapara for the Meisei Chutz La'aretz who are brought to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah, but still there's at least a mixas kapara when they're covered by Eretz Yisrael, and afagav she'en daima katlasi mechayim klas la'achamisa, but still there's somewhat a kapara for Kevurah ben Chutz La'aretz in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore they could bring their Aronis to Yisrael like we see by Yaakov and Yosef. The Shevat HaLevi, the way he learns the Rambam, is that the Bnei Chutzlarts who are covered in Eretz Yisrael, they don't get any kapara for the Kevurah Eretz Yisrael, but there's still a reason why they should burn Eretz Yisrael, because at least they'll be zeicha to the bracha that Meser Eretz Yisrael chayin tchila, and they're not going to have the tzar of Gilgal of Chilas. So for that, that's why the Rambam was not against the Bnei Chutzlarts being covered by Eretz Yisrael. There's a Zohar in Parshas Truma.
For what? For not living in Eretz Yisrael?
For both, for not bring yourself to be brought to Eretz Yisrael and not living in Eretz Yisrael. For both you need a kapara. The fact that you lived in Chutzlarts and that you're after the fact that you lived in Chutzlarts, now you bring your entire Eretz Yisrael, and it's sort of like a chutzpah. The Zohar Parshas Truma, he asked the kasha that what's Shapa Yaakov and Yosef? They live in the Chutzlarts, and they still ask their Atzamis who brought to Eretz Yisrael. It says in the pasuk Vatavoyu Vatamus Arti, and there's a tainus a ben Chutzlarts coming to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. And he gives two truths in desire. His first teretz is Yaakov v'nu lo yimeis. Since Yaakov v'nu lo yimeis, therefore it wasn't a problem for him to come to Eretz Yisrael. The second teretz he gives that Yaakov and Yosef are different because they were the merkava l'shchina, and tzadikim gemurim enim etamim. Since tzadikim gemurim enim etamim, therefore there are and won't be metamim Eretz Yisrael. Actually, no, a certain one of the Chacham Kollel in Yerushalayim was a Kohen, and he would go to Kevurah Shim Bar Yochai because he held that tzadikim gemurim enim etamim. And the Zohar was written by Shim Bar Yochai, and he was the Mar Shmaitza that Satim Gurmein Betamim. So if he's the Mar Shmaitza, and Shim Bar Yochai held that sheet that Sadim Gurmein Betamim, so if he's a Kohen, it doesn't make a difference. Sadim Gurmein Betamim, so you would even go into the Myra there and held that there wasn't a problem. In Shulchan Aruch Yarden, Shin Samach Gimel, it says halacha in regards to exhuming mesim and reinterning them in different places or into Eretz Yisrael. Shteit in Shulchan Aruch, Lashon Mechaber is Ein mefanim meis afilu makom baza yemakom mechubed. You can't just exhume a body and transfer it to one place to another place because it's more of a chashav, a burial plot. Avol l'cover itza avaisav, to transfer somebody to bury him amongst his mishpacha. Kevurah avos mutter. V'chein in cover shamer min agayim. If somebody's kever is not safe from the gayim, they might steal the mace. Or min hamayim, or there's going to be water damage. V'chein, Zok Mechaber v'chein likvar be'Eretz Yisrael mutter. If you want to take somebody and exhume the body in order to bury him in Eretz Yisrael and bring him from Chutzlarts from Eretz Yisrael and take the body to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah, that's also mutter. So all these cases are mutter. Whether it's because you're worried about water damage, you're afraid it's going to be taken by the goyim, and he ends up saying that for Kevurah Eretz Yisrael also to bring somebody's body to Eretz Yisrael and take him out his makom for Chutzlarts and transfer to Eretz Yisrael, that's also mutter. So you see clear from the Mechaber that bring a to Chutzlarts, even to dig them up and exhume the body, even that's going to be mutter to bring them to Eretz Yisrael. There's a famous Chuvas Malbach that all the Paiskim bring down, who writes, all the Paiskim write that Milas Kevurah Yisrael is a Milo Gabe in Kaparas Avoinus, brings Kapara, V'nicha Nafshe, V'nichas Nefesh, and brings a V'nichas Nefesh to the mace, V'atzalo Mitzar Gilgal Atzamos, and bring the mace for Kevurah Yisrael, it saves him from the Tzar of Gilgal Atzamos. K'de'isa b'Bavli v'Yishalmi, like we see in the Bavli and the Yishalmi and the Midrashim. V'aliba dekulu loy chashin lahu debar kirya. We see that the Bavli, the Yishalmi, all the Midrashim, they all pass that you could bring a Meisei Chutzlar to Eretz Yisrael. We're not chayshish for this shita of Bar Kirya and the Yishalmi. And therefore, even though Bar Kirya discouraged the Kevurah of Meisei Chutzlar to Eretz Yisrael, still, we have to be chayish for him because we have all the shitas, so the Bavli and the Shulchan Aruch, and we see all the Paiskim are going that it's not a problem. And even though we have the Gemara is saying and you can't compare the Eretz Yisrael absorbing somebody from the Lachar Misa, but still there's still a nichusa lachar ma'isa and still a kapara, even if he only comes to Eretz Yisrael achar misase. In the Shuvas Yabi Aimer from Chamuvadia, he says that since the Bavli is chelik and the Zayar is only going b'shittas Barkira from the Yerushalmi, therefore we go like the Bavli, and we're not chayshish for Divrei Kabbalah. And Lefizeh, it's not shver this day Yaakov and Yosef for Mitzav to bring their Aronis to Eretz Yisrael, because we have the Bavli passing that you could do Kvuras Mesech Chutzlarts in Eretz Yisrael. He brings down a Maisa from the Stalner Rebbe. This is going way back before it was common practice to bring the Mesech Chutzlarts to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah. And there's a Maisa with the Stalner Rebbe. There was a machlekes amongst different factions, maybe amongst the Hasidim, where to do the Kevurah. And if they could do the Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael, if it would be halachically acceptable to bring the Mesech from Chutzlarts to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah. And the Shaila came before Tzvi Pesach Frank, and he paskined Al Pi the Shulchan Aruch, and this Mabach that we quoted, that it's mutter, and not only that, it's a mitzvah. And it could be from after that it came over common practice. Once there's a Bekeshtel by the Gedolei Paiskim Eretz Yisrael, and that became more of a popular thing to have Puras Mesech Chutzlarts Eretz Yisrael after this Maisa. Moshe Sternbach and Shuvas and Haggis, and also the Shevat Alevi, they say that even though the Malbach said that these machlokes Yushalmi the Bavli, and that we should go like the Bavli to be matter the Mesech Chutzlarts being brought to Eretz Yisrael, because the Ma'aser Eretz Yisrael is classic, even the Mesech Chutzlarts, even though it's not a full kapara, but they want to be masbid the Yishalmi maybe a different way that they shouldn't be in a machlokes. It could be the machlokes, it could be the Bavli Yishalmi don't even argue. You want to say the Bavli is going by a case of somebody whose whole life he was mishtayik to live in Eretz Yisrael, and that's where his heart was, that's where he wanted to live. But for whatever reason, whatever his life was all about, that it didn't allow him to live a life in Eretz Yisrael, and that's where he wanted to live, but he couldn't. So for such a person, there's no kitchuk on him, and for him, Eretz Yisrael is a good place for him to have Kevurah, and Eretz Yisrael is mechaper. And there's not a problem to bring to Eretz Yisrael, just like we see by Yaakov and Yosef. They really want to live in Eretz Yisrael, but Akachim, they live in the Chutzlarts for the time being. For them, for such a person, it's not a problem to bring for Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. And certainly Kolshkin, somebody who's a Ben Eretz Yisrael, and unfortunately if he was nifter suddenly, let's say he had a heart attack when he's in Chutzlarts, for him Zicher, there's no problem. It would be in the mitzvah to bring him for Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. And the Yishalmi is talking about somebody who had the opportunity to live in Eretz Yisrael. It was biyadai, and he just wanted to live the geshmak, a life of luxury in Chutzlarts for the Gashmias or whatever, and he went away from his opportunity that he had to live in Eretz Yisrael. For such a person, for him it's a taina that the Bakirya said that it's but Thomas that you mean Thomas Aretz, and such a person should not have a Kevurah Eretz Yisrael. The Yael also goes with this mahalch that it's he goes to mahalch that you shouldn't have a basic Mesech Chutzlar, should not have Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. He discourages this. He says that this by Yosef Tzaddik. It's interesting. He brings by Mitzvah Garaya Faketa. You shouldn't have Kevurah Eretz Yisrael. Yosef didn't want his guf to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. He only allowed his atzamas brought to Eretz Yisrael, and he can't bring a raya from Yaakov. Yaakov Yinulei Meis, and even the Rambam never writes blush and bar that is a mitzvah of Kevurah Eretz Yisrael. And it's a dua in the days of the Rambam that the Rambam didn't have the Zayar, didn't come out yet then. And had the Rambam had the Zayar, it could be he would have came out against Kevurah Eretz Yisrael. And this that he didn't write that it's usher is because he didn't have the Zayar. Had he had the Zayar, maybe the Rambam would have written it differently. In another place, the V'yol he's more neutral. He says that Maisa Tziyafsher to argue in the Pasha the Shulchan Aruch that is unless somebody's a Russian, for such a person that he should not do it for Eretz Yisrael. Reb Henkin, he had an interesting gashkaf on this. He said that it could be even in a viewer, it's about gaiba for a regular person from Chutzlarts have himself be buried in Eretz Yisrael. Only somebody who's medaktik kala v'chamura and is a tzaddik gomer like Yosef and Yaakov, only he should have his arm being brought to Eretz Yisrael for Kevurah. The Kleis Bigger Rebbe says that he also discourages Kevurah B'Eretz Yisrael for Ben Chutz La'aretz. He says it's not Mavur, not the lashon of mitzvah, not the Rambam, not a Shulchan Aruch. All it says Shulchan Aruch that it's mutter to l'fanoisei to move the mace from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. He never says it's a mitzvah. And he says Ksas in on the Marbach that says it is a mitzvah. And L'maisa, maybe the Rambam didn't say it's a mitzvah because he was chayshish for the Divrei HaZayar, that who was against the Kevurah Meisach Chutz La'aretz B'Eretz Yisrael, and he says since L'maisa you have a b'chlaikis in the Bavli whether or not you should bring a Meisach Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. So b'chai gavno, when we have a b'chlaikis in the Bavli, you could utilize the Zayar to be machriya the machlaikis in Nigla, because since in the Bavli's machlaikis there's a klal that b'chai gavno you could use a Zayar to be machriya what's Nigla, and therefore he was mitzaded that you shouldn't bring the Meisach Chutz La'aretz Kevurah in Eretz Yisrael. The Ma'aseh the Shevat HaLevi says that Vade Be'emes Lemitzinu V'Shamakim that there's a chiv gemura for Kevurah B'Eretz Yisrael for Ben Chutz La'aretz, but Zich he says for sure there's a mitzvah, and we see that Noyeg Kadminenu and the earlier generations always were Noyeg to do Kevurah Eretz Yisrael Meisach Chutz La'aretz. It's even brought down from a Chuvas Radbaz already, and since it's taka brought down from the earlier generations, it's taka mitzvah, and it is made right to Kevurah Meisach Chutz La'aretz in Eretz Yisrael. So interestingly, there's a different Chuvas Radbaz in Kisvei Yad that says that it's Yafim Eisim to bring Mason to Shalayim Kevurah, because in Emek Shevat that's when Tchias HaMesim is going to happen, and the people who are buried in Emek Shevat, which is about the vicinity of Har HaZeisim, that's where they come out without the Tzar of Gilgal Mechilos. And it says interestingly that it's Tafka Emek Shevat, but even people who are buried in other places in Eretz Yisrael, they're going to have Gilgal Mechilos to get to Emek Shevat to Tchias HaMesim, because only there Tchias HaMesim is going to happen. One more thing to note that l'chayra, even on the tzad it's a mitzvah for Eretz Yisrael, it's no different than any other mitzvah that we say that on mitzvahs leisei you have to give up all your money in order to avoid doing a leisei. But when it comes to doing a mitzvah say, we say al yivazvez zeisim michaimish. So kum t'chayis, if it comes out to more than a chaimish, a person shouldn't be vazvez so much money in order to have the Kevurah Eretz Yisrael.